5 decades, Indiana State Police have announced a major breakthrough in the cold case murder of a teenage girl.
This is a huge hurdle for us to get over, and we've gotten over it. We're about halfway there now.
The night of August 6, 1975, was supposed to be a fun night out for North Webster native Laurel Mitchell, who was 17 at the time. Then, around 10 o'clock after she left work, she just disappeared. As the hours went by, her family and friends feared more and more that their worst fears would come true. The dead body of Laurel was found floating in a river the next day. The sad news broke the hearts of her family and friends, and the whole small town was in shock. The case was open for 4 years until new information came to light. What happened to Laurel on that terrible night? Who and why could have hurt the teenager? Let's have a look at the 48-year-old case finally solved in 2023. Laurel Jean's case. On May 24, 1958 in North Webster, Laurel was born to Richard and Wilma Mitchell. She has a sister named Sarah Mitchell, who is 5 years younger than her, and a big brother named Bruce Mitchell, 5 years older than her. Even though they sometimes fought, Laurel and her siblings had a strong bond that only grew stronger over time. Laurel became a well-liked person in the neighborhood, where everyone liked her friendly attitude and warm smile. Her loving heart and friendly nature were the two things that people liked most about her. She always went out of her way to help people and make them feel valued. She was very kind and very caring. It was the neighborhood kids who loved Laurel the most, and it wasn't unusual to see her surrounded by little kids who all wanted to be like her. Laurel was good at many things, but singing may have been her biggest passion. She had a beautiful voice from a young age, so it was no surprise that she was a key member of the church choir in the neighborhood. But that wasn't the end of Laurel's love for music. Laurel was also a skilled dancer who took lessons at a nearby facility to improve her skills. Laurel didn't just dance and listen to music for fun. They were her way of life. She put her heart and soul into every act, big or small, because they gave her a sense of purpose and fulfillment that nothing else could match. At the age of 17, Laurel was about to start her last year of high school at Wallace High School. Still, she decided to start working at Co-Experian, a small restaurant in Epworth Forest, before the new school year began. She figured that working at a restaurant was the best way to learn some useful skills and make some extra money. She was adamant about making the most of every chance, so she did the job with all the energy and enthusiasm she could muster. She quickly became the most liked person amongst both the staff and the customers. Laurel Mitchell lived a vibrant life until August 6, 1975, when tragedy struck. That day, Laurel went about her usual routine, working at the Co-Experian and planning to meet some friends at Adventureland. However, she declined a co-worker's offer for a ride home and left the inn alone at 10:15 p.m. Initially, her disappearance went unnoticed by her friends and family, but as time passed, concerns grew. Laurel's responsible nature and failure to return home raised alarm bells for her parents, who eventually contacted the police. The news spread throughout the neighborhood, and a search party was organized. Meanwhile, a fisherman and his son made a grim discovery of a fully dressed body floating in the Elkhart River 15 miles from where Laurel worked. They promptly alerted the police, who identified the body as Laurel's. Officers then visited her parents' home to deliver the tragic news. Wilma and Richard were worried about where their girls were, but they weren't ready for what they were told. As the cops told them what had happened, Richard cried. Wilma was also in a bad mood. When Sarah got home from softball practice, she felt nervous. She was confused to see several police cars in the garage. When she went inside, she saw her parents were crying and seemed nervous. Their looks brought her down. Her father weakly told her that her beloved sister Laurel had died. Sarah's life was never the same again. The report was made public shortly after Laurel's body was found. She drowned, but all she had on her shoulder and hands were bruises. She was also abused in a sexual way. The whole town was shocked and couldn't figure out who could have done something so terrible. The police started looking into Laurel's death right away. Detectives talked to witnesses to get answers for several questions. Frank Overmeyer told them what he had found. He heard a car trunk close the night Laurel went missing. He thought it might have been an old phone, detectives wouldn't understand the witness's words for years. They took and kept Laurel's clothes and belongings after her death. This featured a silver necklace, one earring, shoes, undergarments, a hoodie, and a pair of unzipped and unbuttoned blue pants. The outfit was limited by technology at the time, but soon, investigative technology would bring the case back to life. A significant crowd of well-wishers, friends, and family members attended Laurel's funeral at a large church in the town center. Sarah said that she couldn't remember the lecture. She did remember that her dad and brother held her hands tight. After the funeral, state and police worked non-stop to figure out who killed her. They looked at the facts and talked to more people, but nothing helped. No one knew what happened to Laurel, so her family didn't know how she died. Over the weeks, months, and years, the story fell out of the news, but Laurel's family and friends still grieve. In 2007, her case was reopened by Captain Kevin Smith of the Indiana State Police. He was determined to find the answers that Laurel's family had been looking for so long. Even though he was stressed, Captain Smith was determined to help Laurel's family find peace. Even though he worked hard, he didn't find any new leads or proof for years, which made him and his friends unhappy and give up. The case seemed impossible to solve, and hope faded. Richard and Wilma, Laurel's parents, did everything they could to keep the public aware of what was going on with their daughter's situation, hoping that someone would come forward with information that would lead to an arrest. But the couple's health got worse. They died 4 months apart in 2012, which was sad, and Laurel never got justice. A sad death came to a couple who spent their whole lives trying to find answers and peace for their daughter. After they died, the police looked into Laurel's case. Detectives were surprised by the lead in 2013. Renee Sexton gave important details. At age 16, she went to a John Lehman party in 1975. On her way home, John told her something that really shocked her. He and Fred Bandy both said they had killed a man, but he didn't give up any information about what they had done wrong. This knowledge was exciting to the detectives and could be important to Laurel's case. A year after Renee Sexton, in 2014, police got a tip from a man named Bill McDonald. Bill was in junior high school in 1975. He said he met Fred at a party soon after Laurel died. During their conversation, Fred said he had done something bad near Laurel's body. After this good sign, detectives started looking into Fred and Lehman as possible suspects. They looked into Lehman's past, but they didn't find anything. Fred, however, they did. There had been trouble before. In 2001, he said that he had abused people and helped them to get into trouble. Agents, unsure if it's the start, need to investigate Fred's involvement in the murder. Captain Smith sent Laurel's clothes for DNA testing. The DNA matched the male profile, narrowing the search to Fred and Lehman. Detectives obtained Fred's DNA, confirming the match. With a 1 in 13 billion chance, they obtained a warrant for Fred's arrest. Both Fred and Lehman were suspected of putting Laurel in a car, driving her to a river, and letting her die. Fred and Lehman, age 67, were arrested on February 6, 2023 for first-degree murder. Sarah and Bruce, Laurel's siblings, were shocked, but wished their parents were alive to witness a breakthrough. Fred and Lehman pleaded not guilty, but were held without bail. A pre-trial hearing was scheduled for April 24, 2023. Sarah is still grieving, hoping for justice, but acknowledging it may not be enough. After 40 years, Laurel's murder was solved with the help of technology and police work. Her family and friends will always remember her and help us to remember how important it is to get justice for crime victims. From what we know, why do you think Fred and Lehman killed Laurel? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more cold cases finally solved, and we'll see you in the next one.